From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the afternoon news for September 5th, 2025, and these are the stories we are covering at this hour. They were detained during an immigration raid at a sprawling Georgia site where South Korean auto company Hyundai manufactures electric vehicles, according to the Homeland Security official. Who are they? 475 people who were detained during a Georgia immigration raid. Stephen Schrank, special agent in charge of Homeland Security investigations, spoke at a news briefing in Savannah, Georgia on Friday. No charges were immediately announced. This operation underscores our commitment to jobs for Georgians and Americans, Schrank said. South Korean Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lee Jae-woong described the number of detained South Koreans as large, though he did not provide an exact figure. Hiring has stalled, with U.S. companies reluctant to expand. U.S. employers added just 22,000 jobs last month as the labor market continued to cool due to uncertainty over President Donald Trump's economic policies. Hiring decelerated from 79,000 in July, the Labor Department said Friday, and came in below the roughly 80,000 economists had expected for August. The unemployment rate ticked up to 4.3%, also worse than expected and the highest level since 2021. When the Labor Department put out a disappointing jobs report a month ago, an enraged Trump responded by firing the economist in charge of compiling the numbers and nominating a loyalist to replace her. Factories and construction companies have shed jobs. Healthcare and social assistance work, on the other hand, has grown. Factories shed 12,000 jobs in August, the fourth straight month that manufacturers have cut payrolls. Construction companies cut 7,000 jobs, and the federal government 15,000. Healthcare and social assistance companies, a category that spans hospital to daycare centers, added nearly 47,000 jobs last month and now account for 87% of the private sector jobs created in 2025. Congressional Republicans want to introduce, or have introduced, bills to change the Defense Department's name to the Department of War. Congressman Greg Stoiber of Florida and Senator Mike Lee of Utah formally introduced the Department of War Restoration Act of 2025 in the House and Senate, respectively. It should always be clear to anyone who would harm our people, Americans don't just play defense, Lee said in a statement earlier this week. From 1789 until the end of World War II, the United States military fought under the banner of the Department of War, Stoiber, an Army veteran, said in a statement. It is only fitting that we pay tribute to their eternal example and renowned commitment to lethality by restoring the name of the Department of War to our armed forces. Only Congress has the power to establish, shutter, and rename federal departments, meaning the legislation is required to formalize Trump's name change. The Trump administration is taking its immigration crackdown to the next level. In other words, to the health care safety net, launching Medicaid spending probes in at least 6 Democratic-led states that provide comprehensive health coverage to poor and disabled immigrants living in the United States without permanent legal status. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is scouring payments covering health care for immigrants without legal status to ensure there isn't any waste, fraud, or abuse, according to public records obtained by KFF Health News and the Associated Press. While acknowledging that states can bill the federal government for Medicaid emergency and pregnancy care for immigrants without legal status, federal officials have sent letters notifying state health agencies in California, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, Oregon, and Washington that they are reviewing federal and state payments for medical services such as prescription drugs and specialty care. The federal agency told the states it's reviewing claims as part of its commitment to maintain Medicaid's fiscal integrity. And that's the news for this hour. If you are watching our news videos on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. Tune in to PEP Radio for Stand With Pride at 11 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday for a review of the news from this week that impacts the LGBTQ+ community. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.